Hey, what is going on, guys? This is the bogey-free podcast for the AT&T Pro-Am. I'm your host, Evan Chaney. Today, joined by my co-host, Matt Jones, Jimmie, and today we have Logan from FanShare Sports. How are you doing today, Logan?
Hey, I'm doing very well. Thanks for having me on, guys.
It's a pleasure. And of
Yeah,
course,
Logan, I think this is your third appearance, right, Logan?
Yeah, I've done golf once and football once, I think. So
There we go.
always golf's my favorite sport. So always good to be here for this.
Nice.
but before we get into any golf, 3 Dillies for the Philadelphia Eagles. Oh, man.
The worst. Congrats.
Why, thank you. It was a glorious evening.
It was great to see Brady and Belichick go down. I was thrilled. Also, I had a parlay with Jason Day to win the Farmers and Philly at plus 190, and that hit. So I was pretty thrilled about that.
There you go.
That was my
That's a
only
sharp
winning.
bet.
My only winning proposition last week, as I had lots of Hideki and lots of Spawn, and so that went poorly.
Yeah. It was a bit of a bloodbath, to be totally honest, last week. I think my 20 lineups either had Spieth, Hideki, or McGirt. So there you go.
Oh, McGirt got me too. I really thought he was a good value down there towards the bottom.
Yeah, really.
I had
really
probably 15% of him. That hurt.
And your whole conversation about like going all in on somebody, I of course bitched out and was like, I'll split it between Hadley and McGirt. And if I would have just went all Hadley, I would have been sitting on an island somewhere right now. So fucking
that happens.
But it doesn't.
My guy that went all in with, he wasn't even the one that hurt me. He did all right. What were you gonna say, Logan?
No, I went all in with Von Taylor last week, so I that's kind of my strategy as well. But wasn't able to pair things up properly either. But
Nice. Well, this could be Von's week. You could double up on the all in with Von Taylor.
Oh, I'm always on Von, so you'll get there.
Nice. We'll get there. We got lots to go. We got lots to go. Apologize if I have to like mute my mic or go into a coughing fit as I'm fighting a little bit of a cold.
Essentially me from last week.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna take some drugs in the middle of it and sip some tea, but I'm fighting through. So
That's
I'm
all we
ready.
ask
I'm
for.
ready to go.
Just give us the best hour of your week. That's all we ask.
I was just gonna
That's
say,
right.
I'm sure I'll be sick next week. But before we get into anything else, we need to talk about Gary Goat.
Of course.
My man, can I just set this up real quick? Because this was a very interesting Sunday for me, because I'm sitting here and like I said, I sort of like the 20 lineups I built for like just throwing something in, kind of shit the bed there. So I'm like, you know what? I'm done for the week. I'm not logging into DraftKings. I'm not looking at anything. Log on to DraftKings, look at the listener league. And I'm in second place with 4 out of 6. Like, completely ridiculous. So I'm looking and I'm watching and I'm doing the math because I had nothing better to do. And I'm like, you know what? If Ches wins this, then I end up in second place. And then if he doesn't win this, Gary wins it. So either way, I was perfect. Much happier not winning the $27. Much happier that Gary Woodland won. The prophecy has come true. I told you guys he was going to win before the Masters. And it all worked out for the best. So I am thrilled. I hit him on my outright, obviously, because I put a few dollars on him every week that he plays. So it was a good weekend overall.
And
I'm glad to see him close one out, man, because like he just could never close one out the way I kind of always thought he should be able to, and it was nice to see him just kind of. He really does seem like a different player this year in terms of, his ability to kind of play at the top of the field and to play, down the stretch on Sundays. So that's encouraging for him and good for Gary. He went through a lot last year.
Yeah, for sure. And I think this, like you said, I think it was nice for him to get the monkey off his back. It's been a few years since he won. And now just the trajectory up to official world golf #1 is just obviously right within reach. So it's perfect. We're all good now.
Oh, God. No, but the one thing you did lose this week, Matt.
Do you think he wins again this year, Matt? So I'm going to go out on a limb and say no more victories for Woodland this year.
I mean, it's pretty early. We still got some time. It would be nice to see him win another one. I got to think. I got to think where it would be, but I'm definitely upset I didn't use him in one and done. Yeah, probably right
here in Tampa.
I was hoping for a bold prediction there, but I guess not.
I'll go. Yeah, I'll go one more before the calendar year is over. I'll go one more.
Okay.
Gary 2 wins. All right.
We also have Matt. We have one more prop bet that we had to score.
Oh God, this fucking guy finally beats me in one of these, and he's all about it now.
Dude, Glover over Tway was the move. I told you.
Yeah, it was like T64 versus T58. Like, who gives a shit?
That's fine. You get, those little place differences matter.
The great irony of that though was Jimmie wanted to get in on that with Bud Cauley, and we laughed him off, and then Cauley ended up missing the cut, right?
Yeah.
No, I said Molinari. I said Cauley, and then I was like, oh no, wait, Molinari's right there, and then that was the guy I ended up all in on.
Yeah.
So and he ended up like T29, I think.
Yeah.
That.
Somewhere around there. So
somewhere middling.
It was a decent week overall, obviously. Congrats to Roger from Fire DFS. He took down the listener league. Pretty much lapped the field. I think he cleared everybody by like 25, 26 points. So
yeah,
it's impressive.
Big fucking surprise.
Well, we do have a tournament this week, oddly enough, where we do have some interesting pricing.
That's one way to put it.
As the Twitter stream has been telling me. No, I was in my online class, and I ignore them because they just talk a bunch of crap a lot of the time in that class. So I was on Twitter. I was scrolling through, and the only thing I saw was complaints about the pricing. And now looking at Fantasy National, I could see why. There are some really big issues. But Logan, we'll go over to you first. Looking at this tournament, what stats are you looking at? How are you judging your player pool for this week?
Yeah, so I mean, it's West Coast, Poana greens. One of the biggest things I'm looking for is, how they putt on Poe, and kind of who I feel confident with, being able to make birdies out here. It's pretty short courses. They're all, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they're all under 7,000 yards. Pebble, par 72.
Yeah.
Monterey, par 71. I think I'm also going to be looking pretty heavily kind of at wedge game and approach play. So, Vaughn Taylor, like I said earlier, great approach game. So, some guys like that with, I think can putt well on Poe and kind of hit the ball tight with the stroke change approach.
Yeah, I can't argue with any of that. It's if you look at any of the stuff I've posted this week, it's all approach, it's all putting. I do think the greens are pretty small, and shout out to Pat Mayo. He posted a long thread that brings up a really good point that they are tiny greens here, and if the winds do pick up, if it stays as calm as it's projected to stay, then I don't know if guys are going to miss a lot of greens. But if the winds do pick up here, I do think he's spot on that the small greens are going to be a real problem for guys, even from the fairway. Guys will be missing greens. So definitely a tournament to watch the weather on. Right now everything looks fine, but with the small greens, that would be the only thing if the weather changes at all. Or maybe just sprinkle in a little bit of scrambling. Brandt Snedeker and those types of players have done well here in the past, and it's not because they excel off the tee or really into the green so much as they do putting and around the green. So there's some merit to taking the scrambling angle as well. But I'm more on the all approach and putting. My stats bear that out, and that's what I'm going to be going after as well. What about you? You guys see anything different?
Yeah, no, that's where I'm at right now. It is worth noting, like we said, 2 rounds at Pebble, a round at Monterey, and a round at Spyglass, and guys really need to score at Spyglass. Nobody who's won since 2003 has shot worse than 70 at Spyglass during the week. So a little something to keep an eye on. Not that we'll know that leading in, but just something to pay attention to if you play the weekend slate. It's a good. Obviously, that's the that's where you're going to be looking to see how guys are doing. And the greens and regulation numbers kind of hover around 60 for Spyglass and Pebble Beach, and then Monterey, it's a little bit easier to hit. So just a couple of things to pay attention to.
All right. Well, on that note, let's talk about our high-priced golfers. I mean, we have DJ, we have Rahm, McIlroy, Day, and Spieth, all in this range. I don't know. Who are you guys liking up there at the top? You know, what stands out? Where do you think ownership's going to be? All that jazz.
I think first, you know, as far as structuring goes, having 5, I'd say top tier golfers, right? You know, Spieth, Day, McIlroy, Rahm, Johnson are all kind of upper echelon guys, and there's a very distinct cutoff to. Sorry, Matt, but Woodland next on the pricing.
How dare you?
On the pricing, Woodland, Nichols, and Casey. I think there's a pretty clear distinction between those top 5 guys. And when I can kind of pair up, you know, Spieth and Day there, you know, 10-7, 10-9, be able to actually stack those two versus, you know, it's a lot tougher to, you know, put together DJ with another one of those guys. I tend to, you know, be drawn towards that, particularly when they've got course history. Day and Spieth, you know, both played well here in the past. Spieth, the defending past champion. And, you know, with that, you can kind of round out your roster at the bottom, and there's, as we'll get later, a lot of mispricings down there. So I kind of like that strategy, given, you know, like I said, they've got the history and you're able to pair it up. That's kind of how I ended up last week on Thomas and Fowler, to kind of one tier down, be able to pair 2 studs like that.
Yeah, the Thomas and Fowler thing worked well last week, and you're right. I think, I mean, as far as ownership goes, I guess this is maybe where, you know, since I'm going to play the 20 max, and that's probably all I'm going to play this week at the $4, and I'm probably just going to take a really aggressive stance to ownership up here, you know, with maybe like 2 of these 5 guys. And I feel like all the ownership is going to cluster around Johnson, Day, and Spieth. And it's going to leave Rahm and McIlroy kind of exposed. I don't know. I mean, there's a long way to go, and there's a lot of touting and articles and stuff to be written, but that's kind of what I feel like early on. So that automatically makes McIlroy really attractive to me after what we've seen, you know, him do on the European Tour, you know, early in this year. I just in general think it's a bit of a resurgent year for Rory. So, if he's going to be as low owned as I think he is, or if he's going to be the contrarian play here, I really like Rory. Rahm, I don't know. Rahm just never seems to go away, and I don't think you can ever go wrong playing him. DJ, I think one of the interesting things to me about DJ is he missed a cut last year, but I think if I remember correctly, it's because he had like the Tiger effect. His whole group missed the cut because it was him and Tiger and who was the third one in that group?
That was
that was
Rory.
But
yeah, that was Farmers.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the wrong tournament. Well, then never mind.
Yeah, he was third here last year.
I rest my case on Rory.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, I mean, again, this is definitely a week for me, at least, where I'm gonna continue the Jimmie experiment with one of these like 7,100 guys or whatever the hell you want to call them, and just go for the low owned play up here this week. I would prefer that to be McIlroy personally, just because of what we've seen out of him and what was it, Abu Dhabi and Dubai. The last couple times we've seen him golf, he was second and third, I think, and only my boy Tommy Fleetwood could get the better of him. So, yeah, I think I'm just going to play the ownership game up top, and then obviously just mash future number 1 golfer Gary Woodland right below here. So it's perfect.
Oh my gosh, are you serious? Are you really going to pay $9,900 for Gary Woodland?
No goddamn way. No, I mean I'll have him in a lineup and I'll have my outright bet on him. But this is. I
was ready to call a hotline for you.
No, yeah. Hey, you hated on Gary last week, so I don't want to hear it from you anymore, right?
Listen,
right,
I love Gary. I wrote Gary up. I played one lineup, I think, with Gary, if even one. I missed the Gary boat last week, and I'm sad about it, but I do still like Gary.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, realistically,
but I'm not paying $9,900 for Gary though.
Right, that price is a lot for anybody sort of in that general range. Obviously, I'm being pretty facetious about my actual feelings about Gary. So Yeah, what are we thinking down? And again, freaking, if they could just expand like the 9K range.
Like, yeah, it's always so small.
It's 4 guys every fucking week.
Before we move on, can we all pick one winner out of this group of 5, or do we think the winner's even going to come from there? So, because those are sort of my 2 questions. Like, my 2 questions about how I'm going to make decisions about this group of 5 is, who do I think is going to win, and who do I think is going to be the lowest owned? So I think we've answered one with Rory. So the second one was, who do we think is going to win? Like, realistically, just if you're forced to pick one, who is it out of these 5?
I like Jason Day. I pulled a bunch of stats last year. I wrote an article about kind of, last start out, Jason Day won. And, a lot of people, think that you can't win back to back, or you might have an off week after, hangover from the win. And it really doesn't prove out for these top tier golfers. So I really do think, I think he's got it again this week, and puts well on Poe, and I think he's going to be a good fit for it.
Nice. What about you, Ev? Like, we don't even need to go in depth. Just what is?
Yeah, no, I would go Spieth. I would go Spieth in this range.
Nice, like it. What about you, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of thinking that this ends up being McIlroy's sort of like, I'm here, guys. Like, let's not forget about me. I know I haven't been around stateside, but I think this is going to be his tournament. And I'll even go and say, I think that at least 2 of these guys are going to be outside the top 20 up here.
Wow.
I think it's going to be a weird week.
I like that.
I think you're right. An interesting week.
I think you're right. I think so. In general, this brings me to a strategic point for lineup construction is, I think chaos reigns at this event because it just seems to reign at all 3 course rotation events. And we have amateurs factored in for 54 holes of like cliff golf. And the rounds are like 6.5 hours. And like, it's just like, there's a lot of things that are different about this week than a lot of normal weeks. So that's why I'm going to play the ownership game, and maybe a little more heavily down in the middle pricing tiers as well. But I think you should be judicious about your bankroll and exposure this week.
Yeah, I think that
just in general.
I think that bodes pretty poorly for Rahm too. I think he's I love the guy. I love his emotion and everything else, but I think after a couple of disappointing starts and real slow rounds this week, it could get to him. Just a little narrative.
Yeah, I mean, life has got to be really tough as John Rahm with like his girlfriend and all. It's got to be terrible.
winning
like things like not winning $1 million and only winning $750,000 has got to just be awful.
I just hope he can afford groceries this week. That's all I care about.
Whew.
Let's just note that out of all 4 of us, none of us mentioned DJ as our winner, and he's got 6 out of the last 9 times here, top 5 finish, and at the highest price. Sometimes the highest price golfer goes under owned, so I'm going to keep an eye on him on FanShare this week and see if he ends up actually building up a tag count or not.
Excellent point, because while I do believe in Rory, I think my pick to win was going to be DJ, but I think Rory edges him out for me. But I think that's a great point, and I'm going to make a note.
All right. Well, I mean, outside of these top tier golfers, I mean, as we start going down, of course, we have a $9,900 Gary Woodland, which I think Matt, I think you might be secretly on that.
No, I mean, legitimately, all jokes aside, like, what was he, 86 last week, right?
Oh, yeah.
So like that, I can stomach 9,900. Any of these guys who get up to this range, that even have like a slight hole, I'm like, no, like I'd rather find the salary lower, save a couple bucks down at the in the value guys that we'll get to, and obviously we can do that this week. So I think that's a heavy price for my boy Gary this week.
So I mean, if we're not rostering Woodland, I mean, how do you guys feel about Mickelson, Casey, and Grace up there?
I think Casey's the clear favorite there. I know he's not played here, at least in the last 5 years, because I'm only looking at Fantasy National. Maybe he's played here a long time ago, but I don't think I really care about that. The guy is just incredibly consistent, tee to green. I know we're looking for good putters here, but I mean, it's Poa. I don't know. Casey's just, I think he's just the value in that range, and that's probably where I'm going to go. I think Grace is interesting because he's going to go wildly under-owned, and I mean, he's going to be way, way under-owned in my opinion.
I think there's going to be a big dead zone in this 9 range, so I'm on you. I kind of like Grace there if I can fit him in, but
so I don't even know if I like him. Is the problem, but I do think his game kind of fits. You can sort of take the driver away from him a little bit with some of these shorter par 4s, and you allow his iron game to kind of take hold. But it's not going to be windy, and I think it outscores Grace's game, so kind of like puts me off of him. But ownership will be interesting because he'll be the lowest owned.
Agreed.
Okay. So I mean, if we're not going to be on much in this range, let's go down to our 8,900 below guys. Who are you guys looking in this range? I mean, one thing I noticed is Chesson Hadley's price is starting to skyrocket upward.
Yeah, I mean, this is like an appropriate price, right? Like 6,900 for a couple of weeks with good results was probably not like the most accurate pricing in the world, to put it nicely. So yeah, I mean, what more could you possibly ask for from that guy, right? Like he's been great. He's been gaining strokes on approach like crazy. His putting has been pretty neutral, so I'm not worried that he's all of a sudden just gonna like completely lose it. Like his game has been solid. Couple top 25s with a 5th place last week. 8,500, I can definitely deal with that. It's not like paying 9,900 for Gary this week.
Okay. Yeah, guys, what do you think about other golfers in this 8K range? Like Beau Hossler. Hossler, we see him up here at 8,300 now after some strong performances.
I don't know how I can roster like Beau Hoss or James Hahn with Adam Scott sticking there at 8,700. I know he had a rough go last year, but I'm sure he was practicing the offseason. It's a new year. And his top 5 rate, just historically, top 5 and top 10 rates are just, out of this world. He's a very good golfer. He can always put that tee to green game in hyperdrive and, get an easy top 5. He might not finish it off, but he's got the talent. And it's tough for me to pay for Hossler and Hahn and even Hadley right there when Scott's at 87. So I'm a Scott backer, but so I'll be on him this week. I know a lot of people kind of get queasy around him, but
yeah, he burned me so many times last year where I'm like, oh, it's a major and nobody's playing Adam Scott, and every time I was just like, fuck, that's why nobody's playing Adam Scott.
I'm hoping people will keep thinking that. So
yeah, he'll definitely turn it around. I agree with you. It's just funny. I kind of have that feeling when I see him. I'm like, shit, what's gonna happen this time?
Yeah. I'm probably going to get in a little bit of trouble in this range in terms of ownership because I like 2 of the highly owned guys here in Cantlay and Perez. I think they'll probably be 2 of the higher owned guys. Perez does well here, and he's been playing just well in general. Coastal courses, he likes them. It's a short course. You don't have to worry about him contending for length. So I'm gonna have quite a bit of Perez, I think. And Cantlay is, I mean, it's Cantlay or Kuchar for me. I think for a tee to green game, I'll just take Cantlay, who's playing a little bit better than Adam Scott, I think, and is looking for that breakout win. Probably putts a little bit better than Adam Scott does. So I'll take Cantlay there. Other than that, that's all I really like in this range. We're going down to 8,000. So maybe Snedeker, like his game's been trending back around, and he's played well here. So I could see maybe some Snedeker. He's won twice here, and he's won twice here, like some different ways too. I think he won once here with gaining 0 strokes on approach, and did everything else through the putter and around the green and off the tee. So Brandt certainly knows his way around this golf course, so I could see some GPP exposure at 8,100, depending on ownership. But I really like the guy at 79 that we'll get to. 79 is where I'm going to be heavily exposed.
Like Ches Reavie, 2nd place last week. He's been sneakily having just a great last 6 months. Even hasn't missed a cut in forever. Hasn't missed a cut since the Byron Nelson last year when Jason Day and Horschel had that playoff like so long ago. He's been secretly playing well. He doesn't have a great course history here, which is the only concern.
Didn't have great course history at the Waste Management either,
which is fair. So maybe he's really just turning a corner here, and he's clearly playing like you said differently than he's ever played. So I don't think think the course history won't turn me off. I'm going to be on him this week.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I also, I just want to mention it. We're just completely off of Kisner, right? Like something has gone like horribly wrong there, right?
It's interesting. I don't know. I kind of just glossed over him. I don't know if anything's really wrong. He had a 50th at the Career Builder, another wonky event. So, toss that one out. 25th in Hawaii, whatever. It's freaking vacation. Tournament of Champions, he had 17th.
Yeah, but that was at like 30 guys.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, like, he hasn't had our 4th at the RSM. Like, there's no reason not to like him, but he's just the last time we saw him, it wasn't great. I think maybe he makes a good GPP opportunity now that you bring it up.
I'm going to write him down. I think so.
Making a note.
Yeah, he's got that top 5 upside, and it's 70, like, good price for him. Like,
and he's a good putter.
And he's a great wedge player, good putter. I like it.
Well, he needs to get his ball striking together because he hasn't gained strokes on approach since like October. So
that is the concern. But he's still finishing like top 4 at the RSM. I like it.
All right.
I'm completely off of Kisner.
He finished 10th here last year too.
That's okay.
Interesting.
I mean, it makes for a strong argument to play him.
I'm taking stands, Jimmie. God, like let me take some stands. Kisner is not the play this week. That is my stand. And now he's gonna fucking win. So that's
okay.
Please reverse mush him for us.
That's okay. You don't have to win. I'll win.
I'm gonna retweet all of the PGA birdies whenever he pops up, just to make sure that I completely sabotage his rounds.
Oh, nice. You're gonna mush him. You're gonna mush him for me.
Yeah, on purpose. Yep.
It's not very nice.
Speaking of mushes, real quick, shout out to Wedge for trying to mush Gary this week. He tweeted at me. Did you see that shit? He tweeted at me on like the 71st hole, and he's like, "Looks like your guy's gonna win. Congrats!" And he like,
and then it goes to a playoff.
I'm like, "Are you insane?"
Nice.
All right, sorry.
It's okay. You're still basking in the Gary win.
I'm so excited, man. It's just great. It's just a wonderful thing to have happen to the brand,
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Anyone else you're on? Anyone's on it? The 8K range, or can we jump down to these 7K guys?
I want to hear who Jimmie likes down here, because this is he's like a kid in a candy store over here.
It's fairly obvious, right? There's only 2 guys at 7,900, and I'm not
Captain America, right?
I'm not playing Kevin Chappell, so it's Patrick Reed. I'm pretty fired up about it. He's been, he's been sporting a really hot approach game and a decent putter, and that's kind of what you need around here. He's played well around here. I think he can be really aggressive on these golf courses with his approach game because he's so good around the greens. He knows he can get up and down around this course or these courses. So I like Patrick Reed. I've got a little outright on him, which always makes me a bit nervous because I don't know. It seems like Patrick Reed just doesn't close out these type of events. He closes out match play and just other smaller, more intimate fields much more closely when he can stare at his opponent, and like pierce them with his gaze or something. I don't know. There's something that happens to Patrick Reed when he plays, match play or close small field tournaments. It seems like, but either way, I like Patrick Reed a lot this week. And
don't you feel like he's the type of guy that could get like pissed off at his amateur partner? I feel like he's kind of like a hothead. I feel like he'd be like the guy that's like, "Oh, you're gonna putt that," like I don't know. Not sure it's the format for him, like you're saying, but
no, Patrick Reed's 100% a dick. Yeah, there's no debate about that.
I mean, as long as he does his job well.
I really thought that you were talking about Chappell. Can we discuss this for a second? Like when you said 7,900, like Reed didn't even enter my mind at all.
Really? With his course history, he didn't enter your mind?
I don't know. It was just funny because I saw it and I was like, oh, well, he's obviously talking about Chappell. And it just, I don't know.
Oh my gosh. I'm definitely not talking about Chappell. No. I play Chappell in like Texas. And
I'm a well-documented fish. Like I don't understand what you want from me. Like,
oh, I don't know. Like Kevin Chappell's probably going to win now, but that's not the guy I was talking about. I'm very much Patrick Reed this week.
After Chappell finished last place of the Tour Championship when I was in the Fantasy Golf World Championship and I rostered him, I don't think I'm ever going to be playing Chappell again.
So that's brutal. That's hard to do.
Thousands and thousands of dollars. So Chappell's on my no playlist from now on.
No,
That seems.
Wait, I need to get you guys' take on a guy at 7,700, Nick Watney.
Why not? You know, he's actually been doing pretty well lately. Right? I mean, 26 at Waste Management, pretty good. I mean, I saw him written up.
So I just wrote him up. It hasn't been published yet, but I wrote him up as a GPP play, and I think Nick Watney. I think I'll have more than the field for this week, at least in terms of that $4 big tournament.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm not feeling it.
Well, I mean, when I say more than the field, I might have like 10%.
All right.
Yeah, the field might have like 5.
Yeah.
He's not like your guy. He's not like your 100% guy. Okay.
No, I was just curious because at 7,700, I think he's going to be really low owned, but I also think he really likes this course and he could have some upside to finish top 25.
No, I think he's fine.
Yeah, I mean, what was he, a runner-up a few years, 3 years ago here? So, yeah.
Yeah. So, just he's made his last 3 cuts. I think he's just one of those like weirdly priced players that people are going to look past because they think he's too expensive and he doesn't have like a great reputation or anything. But 7,700, I think, is just, I don't know. I'll spend that money and I'll put a few shares on Watney.
All right, I'll throw a lineup in now because you talked me into it.
What about you, Logan? Who do you like in this range, this area?
In the upper 7K range, I'm actually just going to skip over it all. I'm going to play Reedy there, and then I really don't like anyone. I like a lot of guys, especially with kind of my strategy. I was saying I'm going to start with Day and Spieth probably. I mean, unless I kind of swerve to DJ, I'm going to be stuck with about 7,100 remaining if I do stack those 2 guys, kind of the majority of my lineups, and just not going to be able to play much in here. I don't think. I just don't really like any guys. I like a lot of the guys in the lower range. So we'll get
I love your early commitment to the lineup construction strategy. I think that's awesome.
I mean, I think
it makes your week really easy. You make a decision, you build everything, and then like the news and all the crap doesn't matter. You just you're done.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you can tinker, or kind of tweak it. But yeah, I think the structuring is a lot of what I really look into and really kind of dive into to start my week. So I think that can really, add EV, I guess, just by structuring your lineups properly.
Absolutely. I like your commitment to it. Just like I'm looking past because I think Patrick Reed's one of those plays that's hard to get away from when you add up all the stuff this week. And yeah, I think that it takes discipline to do that. So I mean, I like the commitment to the strategy and GPPs that pays off huge.
Yeah.
When you consolidate your player pool, that's how you
exactly. I can't be playing those 2 guys at the top and then have like 8 guys in the upper 7 to 8 range. You gotta really you can have a few, but you can't really have them too much ownership or it just won't add up. So
yeah, no, it's awesome. I like it. So moving on.
All right, yeah. Well, I mean, I can start with the lower 7K ranges. We want to move there, but so I really like. I was on him last week and he almost popped off, but Charlie Hoffman, I think he's been just mispriced all year. I think he's I think he should be in that 8K, upper, mid to upper 8K range consistently. And DraftKings keeps pricing him in the lower 7K range. So I'm just going to keep playing him. He hasn't really been picking up too much ownership. I'm just going to ride him until, maybe he'll start picking up some ownership in the Texas swing, but I'm hoping to just keep riding him. And I really like just his talent level down there. And he's playing fine. He just hasn't had that top 5 finish this season. And then, another guy that I kind of consistently on is Steve Stricker. I think, when I was saying, I'm looking at approach game, good putters. He putts well on every type of green. I think his wedge game this week will he's very consistent cut maker. So not really worried about that. Might even consider him in cash. So big on Stricker this week.
I like the Stricker call. He keeps popping up for me. I have him start on Fantasy National. And he showed he popped up one of the reasons I started him is last week I saw him at Phoenix and he was playing way better on that track than I expected him to.
Yeah, last 16 rounds on rolling stats, I've got him as 20th in the field. So he's actually hitting the ball well. And he's got the putting, so I like Stricker.
I agree with you on Hoffman as well, but I like Streelman at 73.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I feel like Steve Stricker's like your ugly girlfriend in high school that you didn't really bring out. Like it's solid, like it's fine, but like you don't really talk about it that much. Like rostering Steve Stricker is always like, I know I need to because I know that there's like a almost 0% chance that he misses the cut. It seems like, but yeah, it's not like a sexy pick, so it's interesting because I start him on Fantasy National too, so I'm fully on board with you there. And again, Streelman popped in like everything that I built out so far this week. Just his approach game obviously has been solid. Would have liked to see him, score a little bit better last week. He ended up, I think, 40th ish. But Streelman and Sink, like those are my boys right there at 7,300. So just easy game,
Yeah, Streelman's been a guy that DraftKings has just been underpricing all season. It looks like.
It seems that way. I like Streelman. I think the only thing that really hasn't been working for him is his putter. I mean, he can turn that around. Poe is sort of an interesting green to putt on. It's sort of, sometimes the breaks what's that old saying? Some days you get the elevator, some days you get the shaft. That's kind of what it's like putting on Poe. It's sometimes the bounces go your way and sometimes they don't. So maybe a few of the bounces go Streelman's way this week on the greens, and his approach game pays off for him.
Yeah, I mean, even if he's just sort of neutral on the greens, you would think that he would be able to put up, a decent score. So he's not really like overly reliant on his putting because of how well he is on approach. So, I'm on Streelman, but at 71, I really like Chris Kirk down here, man. Like 7,100 just feels like a way too cheap a price for Chris Kirk. I think I think I'm just a little bit higher on Chris Kirk in general this year than maybe most people are. So that's maybe part of the bias, but I don't know. I think 7,100 is a great price for him, and $7,000 Austin Cook. I'm not sure what happened.
I mean that's the obvious one, right?
This feels like the Chesson Hadley from last week type of thing, where it's almost intentional. Like I don't quite get it. So I mean, Austin Cook's obviously in play. He's going to be chalky, but. The guy I kind of like Scott Piercy below him. I haven't looked into Scott Piercy's course history here, but I like Scott Piercy's type of game for this course setup.
He was 55th last year. Nothing else over the last 5 years, but
that's perfect. He's primed for a win then.
What do y'all think of JB Holmes after that whole debacle at Torrey coming in here 7,400?
You don't get over that.
The most hated man in DFS. He made us wait 3 minutes, so everybody has to like lose their shit.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that whole thing's probably blown over by now. It was like a media storm for a week for him, but I don't think it like continues.
And lost in all that was he played well, finished fourth. One shot out of the playoff after he ended up birdieing that hole, and I guess he missed the cut at Waste Management, so I missed that, but he's got what has he got course history wise here?
It's been decent if I remember correctly. I'm not looking at it, but it's been decent.
Made some cuts here. I'd consider him. I'm not sold on him yet. I'm trying to talk myself into him here, but not working out.
And it's
I'd rather play a lot of other people besides JB. It seems like down here, and so I guess like again, the only thing I'm doing is really playing that $4 max, 20 max entry. So all my strategies kind of like centered around that, it seems like. So down here, I'm probably going to play the ownership game again and try to find the guy that I like best and then go really heavy on him. And hopefully that person that I settle on has like a marginal low ownership. But I mean, there's several guys that are in play, and I'm sad to say that even Bryson DeChambeau is in play.
He's in play for me as well.
Yeah, I think his brain exploded on Sunday though. That's the only problem.
What happened? Did his putter explode, or did he? I don't know.
All the science left him. He had no more sciencing to do on Sunday, and just completely sort of, I don't know. It was very apparent that I think he like got it back together a little bit down the stretch to like salvage a top 5, but just watching his first few holes, you could just tell he was like completely out of it. But he's obviously,
it is Phoenix, man. I lived in Phoenix. That place will get you fucked up if you're not careful. down there where they're at. So, he might have gone out and started celebrating early, counting his dollars.
I was gonna say, is like the senior citizen communities, are they getting like lit?
Don't they say like the smart people use more drugs and alcohol than other people, to expand their minds? He's pretty smart.
It's true.
Yeah, and I mean he needs that extra money for all the cool hats. So he's got that going for him too. He was probably putting his Amazon cart together for his little page boy hats and had to cancel some of the orders now.
Interesting.
But I mean, RCB is the guy down here, right? Like,
I was just looking at it. Yeah, but like, are you really
69 is
awful though? I think if I'm like remembering correctly.
69 is an egregiously low price.
Yeah, he's European Ryder Cupper, one of the definitely top 30 players in the world. Should not be down here.
21st right now. He hasn't played the course in a few years. He made the cut.
Not bad as I thought.
Yeah, made the cut in 2014, missed it in 2013. But like, this is, I do my best not to really disparage the DraftKings pricing because obviously I write for them. But like, this one is quite a head scratcher for me. This is pretty ridiculous.
Yeah,
like,
a head scratcher is incredibly disparaging.
the 21st ranked golfer in the world should never be like, I don't know, what should that price be?
Dubai, he's coming off a second in Hong Kong. Like, at least Cook, isn't really well known and is kind of first season on tour. This guy is an established, winner.
Yeah.
But realistically, like, Jimmie, what do you think the absolute floor of his price should be if he's the 21st golfer in the world?
7,700.
Yeah, like high to mid to high sevens, right? Like at the very, very lowest.
Yeah, I'd say 8K.
Yeah, like 6,900 is crazy. I'm just gonna go 100% on him.
Wow.
I'm just gonna do it. Why not?
He's gonna be extremely chalky.
Right, and I'm just gonna be.
That's why you go 100%.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, the move makes sense if you're gonna take a stand like that. The move makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so weird. Like, I don't know. There's so many like little dead ranges down. Like, I'm just gonna try to squeeze in as much as I can up top and just have him all over the place this week.
I like it.
It's just kind of what I'm leaning towards right now. Logan, anybody else in this six?
Let me try to sell you on one guy that I've had my eye on. Especially Jimmie, you said you were looking for someone low ownership down here. Maybe Graham McDowell has missed a couple cuts in a row, but
nice.
Reminder, he won the U.S. Open here back in 2010, I believe was the year, at Pebble. And last time he played this event was a top 10, 7th place finish in a couple years back. He was playing decently towards the end of the last year. He had a top 10 at Shriners. Played well at Mayakoba, and just missed the first two cuts in the Abu Dhabi, Dubai swing over there. I think he comes back to a course he likes. I'm going to take a couple shares, maybe get up to like 10, 15% ownership on him and try to be super overweight the field and hope he pops.
I like it.
Nice. I can't hate the play. I made a comparison to GMAC and Pat Perez when I wrote up Pat Perez. I said he's sort of like an American version of GMAC because he loves these coastal courses.
Yeah, he does.
Short, but he's just like GMAC with a mullet and PXG irons. So I'm going to make a lineup right now that has GMAC and Pat Perez in it because I feel like that is the plus EV thing to do. Since nobody picked Dustin Johnson to win, I'm going to leave him in that lineup. I'm going to go with $7,700 Nick Watney. Since we kind of just mentioned him just a little bit, and I'll fill in the other two places.
All right, we'll see how that one goes.
Printing money.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to throw Patrick Reed in there too, right? You've been touting him.
Oh yeah, how do we get Patrick Reed in there? Can we get him in there? Let's see if there's enough money.
I mean,
there's plenty of money. Plenty of money. Winning lineup, guys. We don't even need to keep going.
That's true. That's true. Now, if we want to talk about pricing issues, Russell Knox is the same price as Lanto Griffin Ricky Barnes.
Lanto Griffin sounds like somebody that should be piloting the Millennium Falcon.
Like, seriously. Like,
Lanto smashed at Farmers. Why are you guys hating on Lanto right now?
I think his name's awesome. I just compared him to Star Wars.
What's Knox?
Yeah, that was a compliment. But still, like, back to like, why is Russell Knox so cheap?
Because he's been shitty at golf lately.
I mean, has he though?
Yeah,
he missed one cut.
He
missed the waste management cut, and then he got 29th at Farmers, 29th in Career Builder, and 10th at Sony.
You're probably right, but he just hasn't looked on. Like if he just doesn't pass the eye test, I guess is what people are seeing, and I don't know.
I will have 20% Russell Knox this week.
Yeah, like he's just on his talent, and just on what he's able to do. Like I don't know if, not 100% sure if this is the course fit for him, but I don't know. I think he's too good a golfer to be this cheap.
He's another one of those guys that just like.
So would you rather play Russell Knox or would you rather play up and comer Cameron Davis, who just won the Australian Open?
Russell Knox.
Yeah, rather have Knox.
Okay.
Much.
So what would you say if 2 weeks ago I told you that I think A Raven 52 and who was it? Jet Black X both went 100% in their GPP lineups. Cameron Davis.
Yeah, I think Jason did too.
I mean, hey, you got the balls to do that.
Which tournament was that? Wow.
So I'm just letting you know there's some really sharp people that have a lot of confidence in Cameron Davis to make cuts in big fields and contend in these type of golf tournaments. So just for no other reason, I think that's just worth saying.
I mean, the numbers on him.
I don't have any stats on him or anything that says he's phenomenal. Just there's some smarter people than I am that put a lot of faith in him and a lot of dollars behind that faith. So
yeah, I mean, he was.
No, I mean, he has a small sample size, but the strokes gain data that he has on Fantasy National.
So
really
we need to take some of that strokes gain stuff with a grain of salt too, and some of these really small sample size guys like him, like Rory, just if they only have like 3 and 4 rounds and stuff like that, then we need to discount that, and I get caught up in that sometimes too. But
he also had a 15th place finish at Mayakoba, another coastal course,
Yeah, and I think that's what's driving all of his strokes gained on Fantasy National. So it's not factoring in his international play or anything like that. But that's why I say it's just a really small sample for him. But either way, I think he's worth some exposure this week.
Okay, and then as we go down the pricing scale, my dude at 6,600. Right here, Maverick McNeely.
Nice.
I mean,
the guy behind John Rahm, right?
Exactly. You know my spiel by now. As he was number 2 during the entire amateur run of John Rahm, Maverick McNeely was his number 2. So again, at some point he's going to be really good.
And the gap has been growing ever since.
So what is the official world golf rank of Maverick McNeely?
7,000.
No. Okay, so he doesn't have one right now. At least not in the sheet that I'm looking at. He doesn't, but
I'll pull it up.
That's interesting.
Well, anyway, whatever that number
1170.
He's 1170. So currently John Rahm is 2.
Yep.
The Maverick McNeely is no longer 2 to John Rahm. He is 1169.
I'm just saying, the Maverick skill is there. Like I believe in him.
Who's a better golfer, Maverick McNeely or Aaron Wise?
Aaron Wise.
I was thinking the same thing.
I'm on that train too. I'm sorry.
It's not a knock on McNeely. I think just Wise is a little further along on the PGA Tour than McNeely is. That's all.
Yeah.
You could be right. I mean, I haven't done enough of my own research to make that conclusion, but still, I'm still a fan of
Charlie Belgian likes this course for whatever that's worth.
Yeah.
Oh God,
I'm not going to be on that.
I think that's about it. I know that Brad Messersmith is going to be playing Rick Lamb down at 6,500. I will Who wants to bet me that if you look up his exposures this week, there's going to be one lineup in there. If there's not, ask him to post his screenshot of all his outright bets, and I guarantee he's in one of his outright bets. He can't not play that guy. He's a good young golfer too, but I guarantee that he'll be playing at least one lineup with him.
I mean, he hasn't made a cut since Safeway.
That doesn't matter. It's about the brand for Brad. No Keegan, never Keegan. Always Lamb.
Same reason I'll be on Von Taylor once again this week. It's about the brand.
Yeah, carry bag Taylor. Go get him.
Let's get him.
All right. I mean, is there anyone else here?
Real quick, Ev, how did your he bet on himself DA points narrative work out for you last week?
He sucked. Like, how do you bet on yourself and just how did he finish in the?
He missed the cut. He lost the cut. Yeah. He lost 7.5 strokes tee to green.
How do you bet on yourself and do that bad?
Well, something to keep in mind about betting on yourself as a professional golfer, like just the simple fact that they got their tour cards, like means that they were successful in betting on themselves. Because like that's what it comes down to, really. Like if you have the stones and you can grind it out. Because I mean, let's face it, like guys like DA Points, dude, that guy has been. I don't know how many years he's been on tour, but props to that guy for grinding it out for as many years as he has. Like that is hard work to like travel the country and do what they do, and to just know that you're not going to win many golf tournaments in your career, but you've been on the tour for a long time. That's I don't know, man. Something to be said for that.
All right, geez, Jimmie, you didn't have to make me feel like shit about it. I was just trying to make fun of Evan. I wasn't trying to make fun of DA Points.
Oh no! You should no. Listen, I wasn't trying to rip on anybody. I was just trying to more make the comment that good on DA for like still believing in himself to like get it done on tour.
For sure. I mean, he was a winner last year, right? I mean, it was the Puerto Rico Open, but
that
was
more my point. I wasn't trying to bring everybody down. That's my bad. No, I was just more trying to make the point, like, good on him for still betting on himself to like get it done.
For sure.
Because that's ultimately like what it takes to like tee it up in a golf tournament.
Yeah.
All right, we got some one and dones here.
We do.
Oh, yeah. So let's update. Evan in the lead, 652, 991. Hot on his heels is Matt at 605, 175. And I am bringing up the rear, the caboose at 493. I went with Decky last week. He withdrew, so that sucked. I don't know who you guys went with because it won't let me see them.
I had Glove Daddy.
Dad Xander, I think.
I had him there.
Very nice. Both superior picks to my injured Japanese fellow.
Well, nothing you could do about that, man. That wasn't even like something that was in the cards, I feel like, heading in. So
no, but the backup, had he withdrawn, the backup would have been Ryan Palmer, who would have also missed the cut. So
well, there you go.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. What do you guys think this week? Who are you going with? Or should we get Logan? Let's get the guest to give his first.
Oof.
No pressure.
I picked Jason Day to win. I'm going to stick with him as, one and done. This might be the time to burn him while he's like actually hot, coming off a win. I think it's the time. He's got a good course history here. Lots of top sixes. So play him while he's hot before he gets a back injury, right?
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Like it. What about you, Evan?
Give me Nick Watney. I really.
What the fuck?
That's awesome. Listen, I hope you're right. I hope he fucking wins. I've got it outright on him. That would be great.
No, I don't know. I just kind of like the spot here. What?
But like, is he? What are there like 40 events? Like, he's one of the top 40 guys that you want to play in one and done.
That is the way you need to think about it.
I've had a very interesting one and done strategy so far.
I mean, he is beating both of us.
I know, but he like the first couple of weeks, his picks made sense. Last week he picked Lucas Glover, and now he's picking Nick Watney.
And he's still beating me.
It says a lot, really.
All right, go for it. Hey, I'm not gonna stop you. I wouldn't mind taking.
I'm not holding anybody's feet to the fire. You can change who you say on this podcast. I don't care. It's about who you enter in there.
No, so far I have not changed a single guy when I've mentioned him on here.
I should have gone with who I said on this pod last week. That was Justin Thomas. Then I'd have had money. I might have been leading. But I'm stupid.
Huh?
So, Matt, how about you?
Oh, I'm an idiot. I was just going to say Perez, but that would be 2 and done because I used him at the Tournament of Champions. So I am going to need to burn some time here. And you know what? I am going to go with, I'm going to go Hadley.
Very nice. Very cool. He's got some history here. I like it.
Yeah.
Okay. So you threw me a curveball because I now have the opportunity to pick Perez. And that wasn't initially on the table because he wasn't one I really considered, but he absolutely can win this golf tournament, and I like it. So I'm sniping your pick, publicly announcing that I'm sniping your pick.
Hey,
and I'm going to go with Pat Perez.
I know. I can't believe I didn't realize that I used him already. I was actually prepared this week. I always think of it at the last second, and I didn't even bother to look. So once again, just fishing all over the place.
Well, do you have gills yet or no? Actually, can I really pick Pat Perez after I talked up Patrick Reed so much?
True.
Would that be a grave injustice?
If I were you, I'd go Reed. Kind of have to.
I feel like I should too. I'm going to lock it in. We're going to go Reed with backup Matt Kuchar. Locked it in right now, live on pod.
All right, and then before we sign off, who do you think is going to be the best performing celebrity?
Oh God,
I'm going Larry the Cable Guy.
Oh God, no. There's no way. Hey, he's going to wear so much camouflage, he'll go in the woods, take a piss, and nobody will find him again.
I trust my guy.
I wish they had a DK slate of just all the same salaries and you could just pick the celebrities. It would actually be better pricing than the actual event. So
it might have been.
I don't know. Somebody else go. I'm thinking.
Who's that model from Baywatch that was playing with Spieth a few weeks ago? She plays on all the pro-ams. Kelly Rohrbach. She's my pick.
Nice.
I'm gonna go. I'll go Gretzky.
Right. Oof, that's a good pick.
How about Fitzgerald?
I was going to give my number 2.
Okay, I'll go Fitzgerald.
Ray Romano.
Oh, that's a good one. Bill Murray's the easy one but he'll be the one that you'll see the most because what they'll show 800 shots of him.
Yeah,
won't show any shots of anybody else, but you'll see plenty of Bill Murray and probably Gretzky. That should be the question. What's the most viewed celebrity? It's got to be.
It's got to be Murray,
and then followed by Romano, maybe.
Yeah.
The Murray overalls last year were something to behold that he played in. Just throwing that out there.
Oh, goodness. All right, well that'll do it for us. This has been the Bogey Free Podcast for the AT&T Pro-Am. Make sure to follow us on iTunes. So subscribe to the podcast over there. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube. Make sure to follow all of us on Twitter. And, of course, if we're not winning all the money, we hope you guys do. So good luck in your contest this week.
See it.